After Buck gets a little girl out of a claw machine at a fair, he calls Abby to see if she's ready for the full moon. She says she doesn't buy into the myth, as she gets to work. The first call of the night is an older woman, Nora, who has a panic attack when she sees a man outside just staring at her. Hen, Athena and Chimney get to the house, but there's no sign of a man outside. As Chimney calms the woman down, Hen realizes the woman saw the reflection of a man inside the house as she found footprints. Athena suggests the woman stay with someone else, so she calls her daughter. Hen, Athena and Chimney head to their next call in the shady part of town. As Chimney attends to the victim, they hear screams in a nearby park. Hen and Athena check it out, and it's a man who's very drunk eating another man's face. He makes his way over to them, so Athena uses her taser on him, which doesn't work. She shoots him twice, but he keeps walking toward them, so she fatally shoots him in the head. After the shooting, she's put on desk duty, as is protocol, while the investigation takes place. Meanwhile, Buck and Bobby go on a call to a pregnant women's yoga class. A woman is stuck in a pose and can't move. As they tend to her, 3 women go into labor at the same time. Bobby delivers one baby, the second woman delivers her own baby, as she says it's her 4th, and the 3rd woman needs to go to the hospital for an emergency C-section. The last call that Buck and Bobby go on is probably the grossest thing I have ever seen on television, and I watched The Walking Dead and American Horror Story. They are called to a home of a gay couple, and one man is complaining of severe cramps, to the point where he thinks a monster is inside of him. His partner tells Bobby that the man has had the pain for a week, and insists it's just gas or an upset stomach. They get the man in the ambulance, and on the way to the hospital, he freaks out that something is crawling on his leg. When they roll him over, there is a tapeworm coming out of his buttocks. Bobby wants to wait till they get to the hospital to remove it, as he doesn't want to touch it, but Buck goes ahead and pulls it out, almost 7 feet of it. I looked away as soon as I saw the top of the worm, because that is a visual I will never forget. One of the calls that Abby gets is from a woman, Kathy, who says a man is trying to get into her house. Unfortunately, the man makes his way into the house and kills the woman, all while Abby listens. She can't seem to shake the call, but she agrees to do her job and works with the homicide detective. After the detective listens to the call, he tells Abby that they have a suspect in custody, and it's the woman's ex-husband. When he leaves, Abby does a little digging and finds older 911 calls from the victim. She realizes that when her ex-husband was trying to break in, the woman was a little more calm, and would use his name. On the call where she's killed, she's more panicked and doesn't use the man's name. Abby brings her findings to the detective, and tells him she thinks they have the wrong suspect and that the killer is still out there. However, the detective doesn't believe it. Abby does a little more digging after that, and her coworker plays an older recording where a witness can be heard in the background. Abby calls Athena, who's on desk duty, and asks if she can pull the police report to get the witness's name. Turns out, the witness is actually the daughter of the first caller of the night, Nora. Abby calls Nora, also the daughter's name, and asks how her mother is doing. Then she asks how she knows Kathy. Nora tells Abby that Kathy runs a support group for domestic violence victims, and that she helped her find a place to live where her ex wouldn't find her. Abby quickly realizes that Kathy's killer is also the man in Nora's mother's house and is Nora's ex-husband. Sure enough, Nora looks out her window and her ex is standing in the street. He breaks into her home, but when he goes to attack her, she strikes first with a baseball bat, killing him, again, all while Abby listens in. Later that night, the detective comes to see Abby and apologizes for not believing her. Before the night even begins, Hen is at home with her wife Karen and tells her she just wants to get a good night's sleep before the full moon. Karen has other plans in mind, but Hen brushes her off, promising to make it up to her the next night. However, during one of her calls, Hen gets a call from her ex Eva, who is out of prison. And despite the fact that Hen never vouched for her at her hearing, she still wants to see her. It's clear that Hen is intrigued, and despite a warning from Athena, Hen heads over to Eva's apartment and hooks up with her. After, she heads down to the beach and just cries, as she realizes what she's done. At the end of the full moon shift, Abby relaxes at home when Buck knocks on the door. He brings over some wine, but they never get to open it, as they finally hook up. Despite the tapeworm scene, I have to say this is a pretty good episode of 911. The Valentine's Day episode was a little cheesy, so I was worried the show had lost its charm, but Full Moon brought it back. I especially liked how Abby is able to piece together essentially 3 calls, and helped solve a homicide. I can't wait to see what happens now that Buck and Abby have slept together. I hope that he doesn't just leave her high and dry, as too many of the responders know her now and it could get weird. And I have wonder what will happen when Bobby finds out, as he seemed a little jealous of Buck. And as much as Hen isn't really my favorite character, I can't wait to see how she handles having Eva back in her life. Which 911 call do you think was the craziest? Do you find some of the calls on 911 not believable? What do you think will happen between Buck and Abby? Do you think they have a future or it's just a fling? Let us know in the comments below.